Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Wolters World, and today we're in the land of the Vikings. We're in Norway, and today what we have for you are some of the differences that you should know between Norway and the U.S. so you're more prepared for when you do come to Norway to visit Oslo or Bergen and see the fjords and things like that. So let's get started. Now, the first thing you should know is about the language. Now, here in Norway, they speak Norwegian, which is similar to Swedish and Danish, but it is very much a different language. You might understand a few words if you say them out loud, but in general, you're going to have a tough time with Norwegian. But don't worry, people here speak English very well, so you'll be okay, all right? So that's the first thing. You don't have to worry about the language barrier. You'll be all right. Now, the second thing you should know about when you come here is the money. What money do I use? They are not in the European Union here. They do not use the euro. They use the Norwegian krona or crown. And when you look at it, if you're going to put it in your thing, what is USD to whatever, it's NOK. But when they put the money down, the prices down, they put a KR next to it. So if it's 500 krona, it's 500 KR, okay? Now, if you're looking at the kind of money you'll be playing with and when you are here, most of the time you're going to be using your credit card, and make sure you have a PIN number for that credit card. I can't tell you how many times, like, PIN number, please. Now, most of the times you can sign, but just know it's just going to be a lot easier if you have a PIN number for your credit cards. Now, if you want to go get money out from the bank, the ATM is called a mini bank, so it's kind of funny. It's like, oh, a mini bank, how cute. Yes, and they're all over the place in cities. You'll be fine. Now, if you're going to the fjords and things like that, it might be a little more difficult to find, but don't worry, pretty much most of the places will take credit card anyway, so you'll be all right. But if you go and you get money out, if you're looking at the bills come in at 50 krona, 100 krona, 200 krona, 500 krona, and once in a blue moon you'll see 1,000 crown note. But the thing is, if someone gives you 1,000 krona note, tell them no, I don't want it, I want two 500s, because some places will be like, I'm sorry, I don't know if that's real, so be careful with that one, okay? But most likely you're never going to see it. So in terms of the coins, you have a 1 krona coin, a 5 krona coin, a 10 krona coin, and a 20 krona coin. So you have those when you're out here. You'll be fine with those, and you can pay with for your hot dogs and stuff like that when you are here. Now, the next thing you want to look at is in terms of prices. Now, one of the big things you should know is Norway is not cheap. This is a very expensive place. Going to get a beer at a bar can be between $10 and $20 for a beer, depending on the exchange rate. Or sorry, it's kind of between Sweden and Denmark in terms of where it kind of falls. But it is expensive when you come here. Going out to eat, I mean, you understand why people eat like takeaway pizza and hot dogs, because it's so expensive to go out and eat here, but it is really expensive no matter where you go. I would say it's about 30% more expensive here in Norway than it is in the US, so just be prepared for that for going out to eat, hotels, transportation, all these kind of things. It's expensive. You want to go see the fjords in Bergen from here, you're going to pay a pretty penny, okay? Now, usually what we're going to be spending most of our money is when we actually go eat, and lots of people ask, Mark, what should I eat when I go there? Well, if you want to have traditional food, you know, reindeer and elk and salmon, those are the big things here. Also, you got to have a quick lunch or quick lunch. It's basically their version of Kit Kat. It's actually pretty good. You should try that when you're here, okay? But in terms of when you go out to eat, do I tip? Yes, you do tip when you are here. You know, 5 to 10% is fine. You know, 10%, you know, if they saved you from choking, you can give them 10%. But 5-6%, you're totally okay with that kind of tipping. Now, in terms of what you're going to do, now, like I said, beer is very expensive. You know, $10, $12, $15 for a beer. They do have a state control monopoly on alcohol, so if you want to get something more stronger or some wine or something like that, you will have to go to the local monopoly, you know, place that runs the wine selling, so you do have to deal with that. But if you go to bars and stuff like that, you can get beer, no problem, wine, no problem. The bars will be fine, but if you want to get something for home, well, then you got to go to a special store for that. In terms of if we're going to go shopping hours here, basically, they're normal European hours. You know, they're closed on Sunday, closed a little bit earlier on Saturday, and one day a week they're a little bit longer. I think Thursday sometimes they're longer. But you want to get your shopping done by 6, some places 8, but just know that shopping is going to be done during the day. Okay. Another thing you should know, museums sometimes will have extended hours in the summertime because that's when the tourists are coming. They'll go from 4 to 6 o'clock or maybe from 6 to 8 o'clock. So just be paying attention for that. Now, if you are going to be coming here, you're going to want to take pictures like I'm making in my videos, and you have to have your plugs. Now, the plugs here are just like in mainland Europe, the 2 circle plugs that go in versus the US where the 2 straight plugs. You know, your converters are on your phone and your tablets and your computers, so you're okay there. So you don't have to worry about it blowing up, you know, and going up in flames like a Viking king kind of thing. Don't worry about that. Just know the plugs are the circle plugs when you come here. In terms of transport, the public transport here in Norway is very good. It's efficient. but it is expensive. And what you need to realize is when you look and say, oh, that shouldn't take that long, it will take longer here because of the fjords and the terrain here. It does take longer than you expect to drive places or take the train places or the bus places. So just be prepared for that and have that planned out in your days, okay? Now, next thing I want to talk about is in terms of dress. I'm here in the end of May, and it's cool. I mean, it's in the 40s at night, so like, 6 Celsius at night, and in the low 60s, high 50s during the day at the end of May. It is chilly here, and so what I recommend is make sure you can layer up, have your hooded sweatshirt and your jacket and things like that, so if the sun does come out, it does get pretty beautiful. Sunblock would have been nice for me the other day, whoops. But just know it is chilly here. In the winter, it's very cold. But if you come in the winter, the 2 things you should do in the winter here is skiing and see the northern lights. It's beautiful, okay? Another thing to do in here is go and take a tour and go see the fjords. They're just gorgeous here. Take my word for it, okay? And the last thing I want to talk about is safety. Norway is very safe. You do not have to worry about things. Obviously, pay attention. Late night in Oslo, you might be some drunk people around, or in Bergen and stuff like that. Some beggars here and there, but nothing's really that bad. And Norway is a very safe place to go. That's why, and in general, Scandinavia is very safe. That's why I recommend to people, hey, if you want to go to a foreign country, they don't speak English as a native language, go anywhere in Scandinavia. You're going to be okay because it's safe, and most of the people speak English. So I hope that helped you give a few ideas of the differences between the U.S. and Norway, so you can enjoy Norway more when you come. You can see cool architecture like this at the Norwegian Folk Museum here in Oslo. If you want to learn more, 5 things you're going to love and hate about coming to Norway, what to see and do in Oslo, 5 things that'll shock you about Norway, check us out on our website at woltersworld.com. And they're also on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/woltersworld. And if you like these kind of videos, if you click down here and click subscribe, you actually will get our newest videos right in your feed every week. So I hope you subscribe and like to the videos and have a great time here in Norway. Bye.